guys, welcome to the channel ICSC Concepts. I am Divya Dixit and today I am going to take up this chapter, Introduction to Java. As you can see, this is the first part of the video. So soon we are going to upload its subsequent parts so that we can provide you the explanation of full chapter. So stay tuned, keep watching and keep learning. Till then, let's dive quickly into the first part of the video. Let's start with the first question. What is Java? So Java is a third generation programming language which was originally developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems. Now Java today is one of the fastest growing programming technologies of all times. When it comes to its applications, Java has wide use. It is used to build computer applications that can store data, that can play games, and also it is used to build applets which are embedded in the web page and makes it user friendly. There is a long history of Java language and its development. On the screen we are going to share a table with you wherein there will be details of history of Java development. Have a look at it. Let's move on to the next topic, which is features of Java. So as you can see, the first feature here is platform independent. Yes, Java is a platform independent programming language, and what is platform independent? I am going to tell you in a while. First, let us discuss others. Object oriented programming. What is object oriented programming? I am sorry to say, but I will discuss this also later in the video. Robust. Let's come to the point. What is robust? Robust means strong and healthy. Now what makes Java strong and healthy? Its two-step compilation process. This is the answer. There are two steps while compiling a Java program. First, the compiler checks the syntax errors and then the interpreter checks for the runtime error, which makes your system secure and strong. So Java is a robust language. Next is that it supports multimedia. That's where I told you it is used to develop applets. Yes, Java is used for integration of graphics, animations and videos for internet environment. So it is best suited for developing applets. And there's a good news for you guys that it is available freely. Yes, it's an open product. You can download and distribute it freely. It is also one of the very important features of Java. So as I promised that I'll be discussing about platform independence of Java, let's get into this. So write once, run anywhere is a very important feature of Java, which tells you that it is platform independent. It means you have to write the source code only once and you can run it on any platform provided it has Java runtime environment. And what's the mechanism behind it? Let's see that. Generally, the ordinary compiler converts the source code, the code that we write in Java language, into a machine level code. Now this machine level code is obviously dependent on a machine or a particular platform. Now if I want to use this same source code into another machine, I have to again ask the compiler to convert it into the next machine code, which obviously increases our work. But with Java compiler, what happens? Let's see. Java compiler converts this source code into an intermediate format which is neither dependent on a machine nor on a platform, and it's called Java bytecode. What is Java bytecode and how it works? Now this intermediate code is called Java bytecode, and now a machine using its interpreter has to convert this Java bytecode into the machine level code. Now if I want to use it on another machine, the work lies in the hands of the interpreter of this machine. So here I am also in a way explaining you the robust feature, compiler, interpreter. So interpreter will convert again this Java bytecode into a machine level code which is dependent on this machine. So I am creating a source code and the compiler is creating a bytecode. And now all the work lies in the hands of interpreter. So after platform independence, let's discuss the object-oriented programming feature of Java. Now this concept is all about dividing the programming language or the program into objects that can mimic the real world. For example, Java, C++, Python, Ruby, all these programming languages use object-oriented programming. The main purpose of this concept is to mimic the real world. That is to establish the closeness between real world and the programming. How? First of all, let's talk about objects. So if I have to ask you what is object in real world, you will say something that we can feel. Yes, something that is concrete, that we can feel, that we can experience are all objects. For example, this marker, myself, we are all objects. Almost everything that we see around us is object, whether it is in real form or whether it is in abstract form. Now, when I have to talk about the definition, I will say that object is an entity which has a state and a behavior. Now, what is a state and what is a behavior? Characteristics and attributes that characterizes the object are called the state of the object, and the functions and the capabilities that that object holds is the behavior. So an entity which has attributes or characteristics and functions are called objects. If I have to talk about in the language of Java, so an object is an instance of a class which has data and functions bind together. Here, data means variables. What are variables? We're soon going to discuss in the next video part. But for this time, let's understand the variable is a state and functions are behavior of the object. So, an instance of a class that has data and functions bind together is called an object in the language of Java. Now, if I have to elaborate, I have to go through the concept of class. So let's see what a class is. So to start with, I can say that without mentioning the class or the concept of class, I cannot talk about object. Why? Because object is created from the class. Let's see what a class is. Class is a template or a model based on which objects are made. Based on which objects are made. Now let's take an example of a housing society. Suppose there is this housing society with the name ABC. Now I have a buyer who comes to me. Suppose I own this housing society and I have a buyer who comes to me and says, I am interested in your flats, I want to buy it. So first of all, you show me how your flats actually are and what is all the interior and what's all is the facility and stuff like that. So what I can do is either I can take him to the flats directly, or before that I can show him the blueprint or architectural design of my flats, right? Or I can obviously show him the map of my housing society. I can do this also. So these architectural designs or maps that I am showing will be my class, will be my model. And if I take him to the flats, the real flat will be the object, the real entity. So based on the class, objects are created. Means class is a template or a model which gives birth to object. So in toto, class is a conceptual thing, whereas object is a real entity. So finally, we have come to the end of this session. So our last topic is features of object-oriented programming. This topic is also very important with respect to ICSE examination, because these definitions and concepts find place in almost every year question paper in one or the other forms. So please pay attention. First is abstraction. What is abstraction? It is a technique of hiding complex details of the program and providing only essential features to the user. So, hiding certain things that are not important for user to see and which can enable data protection is this abstraction. For example, let's talk about TV and its remote. What we do, we have buttons on the remote using which we can change the channel, increase, decrease volume or do other stuffs. But have you ever stopped and thought about what is the internal working of the TV, how it changes channel and what all is the programming? No, because we have been given access only to the buttons, not the internal programming. This is how it works. Next is encapsulation. Encapsulation means enclosing something in. The literal meaning is enclosing something in, just like a capsule, you know. So, encapsulation means binding data and functions of the objects together inside the class to prevent any unauthorized access. Again, it is used for data protection. For example, ATM machines. We can only change the password or we can only withdraw or deposit the money, but we can't open or close the account. This is what is encapsulation. Inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance is the capability, or I should say it's a process, a better word, process of acquiring features from parents or ancestors. This is inheritance, literally what it means. But in Java, inheritance means acquiring the features or functions or data by a class from an already existing class. Now this class, suppose this is A and B is the class which is acquiring the features. So this class which is acquiring the feature is called the subclass or the derived class. And class A from which the features are being acquired is called superclass or base class. So again, as I told you in the beginning, the purpose of object-oriented programming is to establish closeness to the real world. Here, using inheritance property, we are again establishing the fact that this programming language establishes closeness to the world, right? Polymorphism. What is polymorphism? As the word suggests, poly plus morphism. Poly means many and morphism means forms. So when an object acquires different forms for different work, it's called polymorphism feature. That means we are focusing only on the work rather than memorizing the names, right? So the ability of an object to take several forms or more than one forms or many forms in a programming is called polymorphism feature. This is one of the very important features that we are going to discuss soon in the chapter called Methods and Functions, that when we are going to discuss overloading. Overloading depicts polymorphism. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed learning, and if you have any doubts, you can always email us using the ID which is given in the description box, or you can leave a comment down in the comment section. Keep watching, keep learning. Till then, bye-bye.